guys, welcome to Under the Arch Sports. I'm Eric Hobbs.
And I'm David Woldingen.
And right now we're going to preview St. Louis Battlehawks hosting the Memphis Showboats, week 4 of UFL action here. Before we get into that, please guys go ahead, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the video, leave us comments, knowing that you want more Battlehawks content. I said it last week, I'll say it again. We're going to do as much as demand dictates, really. And then find us on Facebook, Instagram, and X while you're at it. Okay, David. Battlehawks coming off a big win down in San Antonio over the Brahmas, now sitting 2-1 and really kind of poised to really have an opportunity to take control of the XFL Conference.
Yeah, and the team they're playing against is part of the USFL side, Memphis Showboats. But they have a potential to go 3-1. Right now, they're tied with DC and the Brahmas, essentially record-wise,
Yeah.
right now for the top of the league right now. And they have the tiebreaker over the Brahmas, so they got that going for them.
Yeah,
But
and if you're not following, sorry to interrupt, but if you're following casually, you may remember DC kind of head and shoulders over everybody a year ago. They're pretty good, but they are not that team that is separated from everybody else like they were a year ago. At least that's what it seems like to me.
Well, and they've been winning most of the wins they've had. They've had to come back from or win at the last minute. So, um, really, in all the games from all the teams for the most part, other than the Stallions, every game has been down to the wire. So it could go either way for any game, quite honestly.
Yeah. Now, David, hosting Memphis, we'll see if Battle Dome is filled up with another 40K, but this is one where you think it might be a bit of a shootout.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why I think it's going to be a shootout is Peta T and Austin Fowley, I think is how you say his last name. Forgive me if I pronounce it wrong. Uh, Both on the D line are going to be out. They're ruled out this game. So what that tells me is St. Louis's defensive line is really, really thin. There's not much backup wise that they have going for them. So anybody who's out there is out there fighting for their life on the D line, and there's nobody to replace them or give them a breather, if you will. So I worry in this game that the Showboats will have all their time in the world to throw the ball just because they don't have any pass rushers.
And see, what you said, I think, is important at the end there. Yeah, the way this league is working out, no one is really getting a sustained ground game aside from Birmingham, who's just different than everybody else. You know, it is going to be about pass rush and finding ways to get pressure on Memphis and just not allow them to have all day to throw the football, whether that's guys off the bench and you're just stepping up, or if they're going to have to just send more blitzing packages at them.
Yeah, and the good news to go with the bad, if you will, is linebacker Mike Rose is going to be back and ready to play. So that will help the linebacker core because he's just a beast out there for this team and has a real large presence for the defense. So having him back will help. But the D line is going to struggle. So this game, I think, is going to come down to can you get to Memphis's quarterback and can you get keep the coverage well enough to give yourself a chance. The Battlehawks' biggest weakness, I feel like, and you might agree with me from what you've seen, is their zone coverage, especially in the secondary, has been real suspect. Whether it's just reading who's coming through your zone and covering properly, or just leaving holes open, they've really struggled with that this season.
Yeah, the corners I feel like are pretty solid in man to man, or if they don't screw up a zone coverage when they are kind of one on one ball in the air. I feel as good as I think anyone watching UFL can feel. But yeah, against just zone and just kind of watching patterns develop and so forth, going to be interesting. That is a problem that could be just kind of exacerbated by the fact, what if Battlehawks cannot generate a pass rush and Memphis has all day to throw? That could be a problem. I think we're going to see a lot of blitzing.
Right. No, I agree with you. Now on the offensive side of things, St. Louis does get a lift. Not that they really need it, but on the in the wide receiver room, Ja'Cory Pearson is going to be back and healthy. And for those of you who might know who he was with Seattle. Very, very talented wide receiver. So you're just strengthening your receiver core, if you will, and just giving yourself more options for AJ, which I mean, not that he really needs it, but I mean, that's just going to make your offense that much more dangerous.
And see, this will be an interesting bit of game management. You have a potent offense, right? With AJ McCarron and all these receivers. You you have a depleted defense. It's interesting where you want to score, but at the same time, knowing you can't take the next possession being a score for granted, do you try to work on longer methodical drives and maybe drain some clock when you're on offense just to save your defense a little bit?
Well, and this is where St. Louis can really develop their run game.
Yeah.
You've seen it the last two games; they've gotten it going pretty well, but nothing real sustainable and consistent. If they can shore up their run game, it really just opens up this offense. And as you said, you can have a long drive. I think the Brahmas had like a 10-minute drive against St. Louis at one point. Um 17 plays or something like that at 7 or 8 or 9 minutes. St. Louis is going to have a drive or two like that against the Showboats just to help out their defense, I think. Um, I do think this game is just going to be a shootout, and the first team to 30 is going to win.
Yeah, I agree with you in principle. I don't know. Just UFL offenses are not consistent enough, I don't think, to regularly get to 30. And Memphis, I think, gets shortchanged in terms of talent level. Yeah, they really ought to be 2-1. They blew it against San Antonio.
Mhm.
So they're a better team than I think they get credit for. I think it'll be a tough matchup. I I kind of think I'm with you in theory, except my number is more 25 instead of 30,
25.
which, you know, 5 points, maybe that doesn't make any difference to you, but I could see this being like a 27-24, maybe similar to the Arlington game, honestly.
I mean, I could see that too. I do think if you're betting, I don't know what the line is set at, but I do think the over will more likely hit than not in this game. I know St. Louis was the first team, I believe it was 2 weeks or last week, not the San Antonio game, but the game before that, they were the first team to hit the over out of all the XFL teams. So I think with the
Jeez.
type of yeah, well, with the type of offense they have and with the offensive power they have, they could do it. In the XFL last year, I don't know if people remember, but they put up 55 against the Guardians. So the potential is there to put up the points. It's just a matter of do they want to or do they want to sustain their drives? So it's really honestly going to be just how the game develops. If the defense puts together a couple of stops, then yeah, go take long drives and score, eat up that clock. If it turns into a shootout, could be a wild game and it could be really fun to watch.
Yeah, and make no mistake. If you can, if you're getting touchdowns, then to a certain extent, who cares about time of possession, right? If you're scoring a touchdown every single time, then that kind of takes care of itself, almost regardless what the defense does. But if you're not, then it becomes, a bit more of a chess game.
But in the end, it's spring football. It's a lot of fun to watch. Every game has been down to the wire. So make sure if you're out there, just check into the game, even if you're not going to it, because I guarantee you, You're going to watch some good football, and it will be entertaining. Um, Other than that, we'll keep you guys updated with all things St. Louis Battlehawks, and thank you for watching here at Under the Arch Sports.